you guys, working as a group in terms of an offensive line unit, you guys have done a great job in preventing negative plays this year. What do you feel like has allowed you guys to come so well together and build that chemistry?
Just playing together day in, day out. Spring ball was huge, just building chemistry with those guys last year, too, was huge.
Anything as an offense for you guys that you've been working on that's been a point of emphasis for the offensive unit as a whole this week?
Oh, just running the ball, executing at a fast and physical mindset, and just working the ball down the field.
What are some of the points of emphasis and some of the key things that you guys have been looking at as you've scouted the Bronco defense?
They're a sound defense. They play a lot like ours, and I think we've gotten good looks going into this game.
Jason.
Brody, the offensive line has been looking really good, especially last week with all the rushing touchdowns. What do you think has been going well for you guys the last couple of games?
Just executing at a fast and physical mindset and just playing as hard as we can for 4 quarters really helps.
The last couple of guys have talked about Saturday being a must-win game, kind of needing to win out. What's your mentality and kind of the offensive line as a whole as you guys hit the road and look to secure a couple of wins, get above 500?
We got to establish a running game, help Ben out a little bit. The run complements the pass when it's going well, so just run the ball.
My last question for you, just talk a little bit about Diego. He had a really nice game on Saturday. What are you seeing out of him, and what do you see his role being down the stretch of the season?
Diego's really talented. He does his job extremely well at a high level. Get the ball in his hands, we're always going to have a chance to score.
Thanks, Brody.
I got one for you, too. Just talk, Emporia State obviously known more as a passing game. Against Southern, you had to go down, you had to grind it out, you had to get yardage on the ground. Talk about that last drive there.
It was huge to finish out the last drive of the game with a first down, and Coach Cash emphasized it the whole week, is just being able to grind the clock when we can and get a first down when we can.
But how excited were you when you know that's what we're going to get for the last?
That was huge. It was huge. It was a great feeling just being able to go out there and finish the game.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Appreciate
much.
it. Just wanted to get your perspective on Landon Boss and what he's been able to do. He's kind of wrecking havoc up there. You get a front row seat a lot of the time.
Yeah.
What's that like to have him on?
Hey, it's amazing to have him, behind us and stuff like that. I'm glad Coach Slopo and all the other coaches recruited that guy. Because, as you saw this whole season, he's just been flying around just doing his best, He shows up every day just ready to work, so I'm just glad to have a guy like that behind me.
What's been the point of emphasis for you guys defensively this week in practice?
Really just, we know they're going to do a lot of mid-zone, just continuing to focus on stopping the run. That's always been a goal, from the start of the season. We struggled the first couple of weeks, but I feel like we're starting to find our groove back and, define who we are as in stopping the run.
For you guys, it feels like this is a pivotal game. The winner of this game will have a chance to get to 8 wins. The loser will have 4 losses. Does it feel like a bigger game than maybe it otherwise would be for you guys?
In all honesty, it's just another game that we know. We just like Ben said, we know that we have to win out. We know that we have to win this game, and just not really trying to look far down the road. Just trying to focus on this week's preparation towards this game. It's just another opponent down the road, and we know what we have to do, and we know that we have to go win.
Jason.
CJ, defensively, what do you think is going to be the big key on Saturday in order to win your 3rd game in a row?
Everybody just flying around, continuing to stop the run. We know they're going to try to run a lot of mid-zone. They're going to try to target all of our weak spots, but luckily we don't have any weak spots. So we're just going to go out there and fly around. Everybody's just going to fit the gaps right, man. We're just going to go out there and try our best to get this dub.
You guys talk about having to win out. How important is it to keep everyone on the defense locked in at this point of the season, especially as one of the leaders, someone who's been there before?
Yes, sir. It's very important, and I feel like everybody on the defensive side of the ball is locked in. We know what we have to do. We know we have to go fit. We know we have to communicate the right way to go out there and do what we have to do. So I definitely feel like everybody's locked in. We talk about this every day throughout practice, and, everybody's mindset is on the right thing. So we're most definitely locked in.
And then my last question, how do you guys feel about going back on the road? You guys are going to be away from home now until November, it looks like. So, what's the mentality as you guys hit the road for some really important games?
Hitting the road to me personally, it's always fun, going into somebody else's environment. And obviously, UCO, they have a beautiful environment there. A lot of guys on the team are from Oklahoma, so we're going to have a lot of families out there, a lot of friends and stuff like that. And it's just going to be a beautiful atmosphere to play on. But we know, being on the road is no different than playing home. We know that we have to go out there and execute in all phases of the game, and that's what we're going to do.
Thanks, CJ.
Yes, sir.
One thing. Let's talk about defense. Talk about special teams. You got a block on the other day. What's happening on special teams? They get so many blocks.
Man, special teams, they just flying around, just like everybody else is just flying around. They really harp on that throughout practice, and we have the guys out there to go be able to make those type of plays. So, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Blake.
For the most part this year, it seems like you've done a really good job in terms of trying to find that line of taking care of the ball or trying to find spots. So I know there are a couple throws you wanted to have back. What do you feel like, Coach Gleason, what's he been working on with you in terms of wanting to feel like you can make any throw, but also wanting to protect the football when you can?
Yeah, there's times where you need to be a little aggressive, and time where there's you're supposed to take care of the ball a little bit more. I think those two throws, those two picks I had, I just was forcing it, and I can't do that. Especially that we were driving on the first one and the second one before half. So I just I got a little aggressive, and I just can't do that. I can't put our defense in a bad spot.
I feel like, last year we talked about it a lot. There's a lot of Oklahoma guys on this team. I feel like Emporia State, Central Oklahoma, the most popular teams in Oklahoma just because of the coach and how many Oklahomans are on there. How much do you get? Is there juice out of this game just playing a team from your home state?
No, definitely. I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of family and friends out there, so it's gonna be good. But our goal is going there and getting a win. So, good team. We're gonna be on the road, but it's gonna be a good environment. So I'm really ready for it.
Anything that's stood out to you as you kind of studied the shows this week?
They don't do too much. They kind of just stick to one, like a little bit like our defense. They play kind of the same coverages, but they're really sound in what they do. They got a good. I mean, Jack Puckett, he's their Mike linebacker. He's all American. He's a good backer. So, but definitely, I like what we can do this week for sure.
Jason.
Ben, you guys have been on a roll offensively. What do you think's going right these last couple of weeks?
Definitely just our tempo. I think kind of when we get behind the chains and we're, we have a couple 3-and-outs, we're not playing with our tempo. So I think the last couple of weeks we've just been executing and playing with tempo. And it's just hard when you're getting 10 yards a pop every play. I mean, it's just hard to stop that. So definitely our tempo for sure.
What do you think you've seen out of Kingsley and Malik? They've kind of separated themselves as your top two targets. Why is that?
I mean, they're the smartest guys on the field. They know the field really well. They know how to get open, and they just know what I'm looking for. So whenever you have that, it's like having two other quarterbacks on the field.
And then my last question: trying to get above 500. How important would it be to put together a 3-game winning streak at this juncture of the season?
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's all the momentum we need in the back half of this season. I mean, we got to be real with ourselves. I mean, we need to win out. So it starts with this week, though. We got to go 1-0.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All good.
Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you guys.
And Coach, you mentioned a couple times this week you've got a couple guys down there who have played for you and coached for you, and one guy who's played and coached for you. What's it like to kind of see the guys who have worked for you previously, played for you previously, and see them on the other sideline? Not that that's the first time this happened this year.
Well, I think first off, it kind of shows how long I've been doing this and in this profession. But it's really just like anything else, that the older that I've gotten in this profession and being able to be around coaches, help develop them the best that I can. I'm certainly proud of those guys down there, and they mean a great deal to me. Two guys played here and coached here, and then Coach Johnston, he actually coached here. So it's again, and it's fun to follow former players that are now coaching in college or high school, and those things are important to me. So look forward. I know those guys have done a great job. They've done a great job there, and always look forward to competing against my former players.
Coach, I know that you're aware that you have a few guys on your team from Oklahoma. how nice is it when you go down, you get to see their families that go to the game, and you guys always, when you play an Oklahoma school, seems like there's a lot of black and gold on your sideline.
No question. I think that again goes back to just how we recruit. I think, we recruit a lot of great families, and of course there's a lot of them from Oklahoma. So you should get that type of number down there of fans, and when we go down there to play. Of course, me being from Oklahoma, and I've been at 2 other colleges. Both of them were in Oklahoma, Northwestern Oklahoma State and Alva. I'm sure there'll be some people that I had relationships with in Alva. If they can make it to the game, we'll be there. Same thing. And that happens anytime you go back home. And, of course, I was at Northeastern in Tahlequah, kind of when I first got started. So, and then you got my mom and dad and family there. So it is special to go back there. And I grew up being a UCO Bronco fan when I was real little. I was able to watch them play, a couple of my dad's players play in the national championship game there. So,
last thing for you, it feels like, and I know that you guys treat every single game as the most important one on this week, but it just feels like this one's really pivotal. Because whoever wins this game, you have a chance to go on a streak at the end of the year, get to 8 wins. For the loser, it's going to put a ceiling on kind of what you can achieve this year. Does it feel any like that to you at all this game?
Not really. I think that, again, it's all about how we present it, as coaches, to where it's not any more important than any other game, because it literally is our next game, and that's an old cliche that coaches use. I get it. But we talk about the priorities that we need to have this week to go get a win. Not necessarily about, hey, if we win, we got a chance to possibly do this. If you lose, you gotta then hey, well, season's over. Again, just from a mental standpoint, I don't know if you have to put all those extra storylines in there more than just doing the right things necessary to give yourself a chance to go win a game on the road.
Jason.
Coach,
Hey.
being on the road for the next couple of weeks, what's the message been to the guys with these games both being pivotal and away from home? Does it make it a little bit more difficult, and how do you guys approach those conversations?
It doesn't really make anything more difficult. I think from a standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, I think we always like to look at the team we're playing and kind of what are the priorities that we have to, like I was telling Blake, what we have to do as a team this week, whether we got to stop a certain individual or we know that they're good in this area and we have to be better. There's been times where we've gotten a lot of penalties and we've been into a week where, hey, we got to concentrate on eliminating, mental mistakes, all those things. So, and then the road part and the home part just kind of plays out kind of how the schedule bounces, when they bounce the ball out. Hey, this is who you're playing. We know we got back-to-back games, but at the end of the day, we've just concentrated solely on this game. And really, we've had our foot on the gas pedal the last 2 weeks because we've gotten 2 wins. We need to keep our foot on the gas pedal and continue to get better.
Absolutely. With the offense putting up over 80 points the last 2 weeks combined, what do you see has been working the best for them?
Well, I think that our younger guys are maturing. I think that we're also able to, I think with our guys up front, we're able to run the ball effectively, efficiently, and I think that is helping us. And I also think that our quarterback play, Ben, is beginning to understand this offense, and he's getting better each and every week. And, of course, with Trendon being out, our receivers, they've grown up. Right, they've grown up pretty quick before our eyes, and that group continues to get better.
My last question for you, just to expand on what you said about the receivers, Malik and Kingsley have been playing really well. What do you think has been the reason behind that?
Well, first off, I think Kingsley is a veteran football player. He's played here as a true freshman here at Emporia State, so he has experience. Now, we moved him from running back to receiver, so he's had to kind of break the mold as far as learning how some fundamentals at the receiver position. And then I think that so that's why I believe he's playing well. He's a veteran, also playing receiver. But I think with Malik, just he wants to be great. And I think sometimes it's just teaching him the do's and don'ts and things, the habits that you have to be great. But he's embraced that role. You know, I remember him talking in training camp when we, Blake interviewed him in training camp, and he wants to be that guy. He wants to take the place of Tyler Common as far as leadership goes. And so I think him wanting to mentally has helped him grow each week at the receiver position. And it's made him better.
Hey, I'm going to ask you one other thing here. We talked a lot about receivers, quarterbacks, all that. How nice was it at the end of the game you had to line up, run it 3 times to get 10 yards, you were able to do that?
That was the best feeling. And I know it was the best feeling for Coach Cashdollar. Any offensive line coach, all right, worth their weight, and he is. They're going to be overly excited. Hey, 3 run plays to end the game. We were able to do it, and it's been probably quite a while since we've been able to do that. And again, I think it's a tribute to those guys up front getting better. They got some toughness. They got some grit to them. When they know it's going to be a big challenge this week, but what a way to end a game. That's how you want to end them. All right.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. See you, Jason. You bet.